What if your faith was your greatest power-up? In a world where battles rage both on the screen and in the soul, where XP is earned through struggle and transformation is the ultimate endgame, this is your sanctuary. Welcome to God, Games, and Gains, the podcast where spiritual growth meets squad-based discipline, where the weight of the world is lifted, one rep, one prayer, one power-up at a time. I'm your host, Coach Matt, fitness guide, faith seeker, and gamer at heart. This is your call to level up, body, mind, and soul. Faith, fandom, fitness. Let's get it. Welcome back, misfits, nerds, gamers, and truth seekers. Well, not welcome back. This is episode 1. I want to take you back for a second. I want to tell you about why I'm making this podcast, who I am, and what I do, and the intention of this, the whole purpose behind it. The reason I'm making this is because I want a platform where I can help other people find the truth and help them get closer to God. And I want to help gamers because gamers resonate with me. And I want to help you merge these 3 pillars, the holy trinity of transformation. And that would be God, games, and gains, faith, fandom, and fitness. These are the core things that really changed my life. And these are the things I want to teach other guys and gals about. For a long time through my life, I didn't have all 3 things together. Growing up, I had games. I was introduced to games when I was really young, since I was like 4 years old. And I really got into games heavily at around 8 years old. It was sometime around there. It was around grade 4, sometime around there. But I never really left games, It was always with Pokemon, playing with your friends. I'm sure you guys remember pulling out the clear Game Boys and throwing in your Pokemon Yellow. And your N64s and your Game Sharks. You guys remember all these things? I hope you guys remember all these things. But for a long time, these things didn't really merge for me. And my spiritual beliefs, I kept hidden because I wanted to fit in. So while I believed in God and, through high school, through elementary school, I wasn't so quiet about it because a big part of my identity was faith, was God and religion. And I really identified with it. But as I got older, through high school, depression took over. I didn't turn to God for help. I would always, when I prayed to God in high school, it was always self-sacrifice. I was praying for others. And this isn't a bad thing, by the way. I'm just explaining to you my story. And then I got really unhappy. And I was really sad. I was depressed, actually. And there were a lot of other things going on in my life. And I'll go more into all this stuff in other episodes as well. But I just want to give you the general story. So, in high school, I really turned to games, and I was escaping because I was so depressed that I turned into games and food and got more depressed because I wasn't happy with what was happening in my life and who I was becoming and how I looked. It all made me really unhappy. And later on, when I started college, I made new friends. I started socializing more, going out, enjoying life, and I didn't turn away from games, but what I did turn away from, in a way, was God. And it wasn't that I turned away from God completely. It was that I stopped identifying with it. I stopped identifying with God. I stopped identifying with religion. And it wasn't because I stopped believing in God. It was because God made people uncomfortable. And I liked socializing, and I got selfish, and I wanted to socialize, and I wanted to fit in. So I stopped being outward and loud about God. And it wasn't that if God was brought up, I wouldn't defend God. I wouldn't defend my beliefs. It was that I wouldn't bring up my beliefs. I would hide it. Hide it in the sense that I wouldn't talk about it. It wasn't part of my identity anymore, but that is a huge part of my identity. It really shaped me as a person and is part of who I am, because growing up, I was brought up with religion. I was brought up with Christianity and Islam, and some of my family was Hindu. And my mom has her own spiritual beliefs, and it's a mix of other beliefs. And I'll go more into my beliefs as well, and who God is and what God means and how you talk to God and all these things. I'll go into all of this later on, but I just want to give you the backstory. So as I got away from God and stopped being outward about it, things didn't really get better. I was masking happiness. I was masking depression with happiness. And at this point in time, I was using a lot of drugs. I was drinking a lot. I was not going down a good path. And it's not that I regret doing any of these things, because all of the things that I've done in my life have led me to where I am, become who I am. And that's why there really is no regrets in life, because every situation you experience is just one more thing that you get to experience to become the person you are today, and that's a beautiful thing. The person you are today, the way you're showing up, that's beautiful, because you're still here. Everything you've faced is a challenge that you have overcome. You may not see it that way, and sometimes we get stuck in this belief that things are too difficult and too challenging, but the thing is, you woke up again today. You woke up again every day you thought that. So look how strong you are. And back to the story. So I'd gotten away from God, and God kind of fell out of my life as an identity, but eventually I came back. And it took me going down dark paths and dark roads, and God never left me. God never leaving me. It took me going into even more depression past all of this stuff. So I was depressed through high school, but then I masked that depression, thought I was being happy, but really I was just using drugs instead of food, and drinking instead of playing games, chasing girls. Like, I was just down dark roads, and I thought I was happy. And then I was in a relationship for a while, and that one ended, and that took me way into a deeper depression than I'd ever been. And God never left me. It took me a little bit to come back, and as I was ignoring God because I wanted what I wanted, and I wanted to go back into that dark space because that was comfort. That was normal to me. That's where I thought was happiness. And I was ignoring God, and then things just got worse and worse and worse as I was ignoring God. And then suddenly I stopped ignoring God, and I started trusting again. I started wanting to trust. And as I wanted to trust, God started showing up more in my life. And not that he's showing up more, it's that I was paying more attention to how God was showing up in my life. And then there would be these experiences where I would have moments of full trust. And as I had full trust, it seemed like the world was breaking. It seemed like everything was being guided. Like every step I took, there was another step waiting for me that was perfectly aligned and set up every time I listened to God. And every time this happened, good things would happen. Weird little things. Like I would get free things, or a thought that had popped into my head would be confirmed by the next thing that happened. almost like I was psychic in a way, and it was really weird and kind of scary at some points. And at other points, there would be things like feelings where I just feel like being guided to a certain place, feel like talking to this person. I would ignore it. This person would keep showing up in my area, and I wouldn't know who this person is. And then days like this, I would go and talk to the person, and then the things they would say would confirm thoughts I was having, and things that I was questioning, they would start talking about randomly. And I'm like, this is really weird. Kind of scary. That's God. That's God coming through. And it took me a while to really, really, really believe this again. But as I got back to it, I kept listening. And I kept seeking the truth. And there were distractions, and there were things that would trick me. And all of this is good, because all of this taught me something. It taught me how to trust God. It taught me how to hear God, when I'm hearing God, when it's me, when it's a trick. Because I prayed to God and I asked for discernment. So when I asked God for things, sometimes you don't just get the things. Sometimes you get lessons in order to learn how to create or learn how to deal with things. This is how God works. But we have to be open to seeing it. And I went on a little tangent here, but I'll come back to why I'm creating this. And why I'm creating this actually is part of this, because God kept saying to me to just share, just make the things that I feel like talking about, just record them and send them out. But I have this problem with procrastination and perfectionism, and it really holds me back. And that's why I haven't even started this yet until today, because I keep wondering, what if I say the wrong things? What if I do the wrong things? But the thing is, my beliefs may change. My knowledge might change. I might learn new things, and the things I say might change. But at the end of the day, really, the core of it all, it's really just about honoring God. And honoring God can mean different things. This is like honoring your spirit, your mind, but it's also honoring your body and honoring the vessel that you're blessed to be here with. And honoring your mind comes down to spirit and honoring your body, but it's also learning. And we're also meant to be here to appreciate and enjoy being here on Earth. And what we enjoy is our games. We enjoy fandom. We enjoy fantasy. We enjoy these things, and they're not bad. They're not all bad. Like Warhammer, this teaches you belief. It's tied into the stories when you learn about how things like the Eldar creating a chaos god. These things are created by belief. And if you really look at the stories and you listen to what they're talking about, you can get good perspective and worldviews from playing games, from Lord of the Rings, World of Warcraft, Star Trek, all these things, these stories that I enjoy. They all teach you things. If you really pay attention to what you're looking at, what you're playing, what you're doing, you'll see how they can shape you. The things you're consuming can shape you. And this can be good or bad. This can go either way. But I'm saying, when you really pay attention to it and you accept what you truly resonate with in your heart, you'll find the good in things. And you'll learn great things. You'll learn great things. Go and read the Bible. Go and read spiritual texts. Go and learn spiritual things. You'll learn great things. You also learn great things in the games because they tie these things into games quite often. The games we love all build these things in. They build fitness into your characters. They're creating heroes. And out here, we're creating heroes. We're creating ourselves to be the hero of our story. We may not feel like the hero right now, but when we incorporate faith, fandom, and fitness, when we nurture our mind, we nurture our soul, we nurture our body, we create that hero version of ourselves. We open up the room for transformation. And transformation is how we sacrifice this old version of ourselves that we don't like. And we start creating the version of ourselves that we do like. We have to start writing the story. We have to start writing our own story. We're the narrator. We're the writer. We're the author. We get to write who we want to be. And then we get to be that person. And this is why tying all of these things and having a creed and having your core values is so important. Because incorporating all of these things will bring you peace. And it will bring you transformation. Now, what I share in this episode isn't the full picture. It's just where I'm at right now. It's my beliefs, and my beliefs might evolve. My language might shift, but the mission stays the same. The mission is to grow, to honor God, and become who we're meant to be. And this is why I've created this podcast. Because every time I come on here, I want to share something with you guys that will help you grow and help you honor God and help you get closer to becoming the person you want to be, the one you are meant to be. So in future episodes, I'll be covering more topics on fitness, on games, and on faith. And sometimes just other random stuff I'm interested in. But what I really want you to do is make a real transformation. I want you to build the discipline through struggle. And I want to give you meaning. I want to give you real and honest and truthful thoughts and reflections and be part of your journey and you be part of mine. So I want to leave you with this question. Do you believe currently that you're training the version of you that you actually want to become? And if you're not, how can you start doing that? So thanks for listening to episode 1 and my big tangent and me just yapping and rambling. So thanks for being here. You didn't have to stay if you're still here. You didn't have to be here, but you are. So thanks for being here. So stay sharp, stay faithful, and never stop leveling up. Have a great night, guys. Thanks for joining me on today's quest. If this episode gave you something to think about or something to lift, share it with your squad, leave a review, and spread the mission. And if you're ready to go deeper, to train with purpose, grow in spirit, and build real strength that lasts, join our free Discord community. Because your solo grind doesn't have to stay solo. Until next time, stay sharp, stay faithful, and never stop leveling up.